Keir Starmer is teetering on the edge of political oblivion. What was meant to be a cautious step toward European realignment has exploded into a full-blown rebellion that's threatening to bring down his leadership. Once painted as Labour's safe pair of hands, Starmer now finds himself cornered, branded a traitor by his own supporters, undermined by his own MPs, and mocked by his opponents. The backlash to his newly unveiled EU deal has ignited a firestorm that's consuming Labour from the inside out. At the heart of the chaos is a quietly signed agreement giving European fishing fleets access to British waters until 2038. That single clause has detonated outrage in coastal towns already bruised by years of economic neglect. To local fishermen, it's not policy, it's a slap in the face. Many who had reluctantly returned to Labour after Brexit are now protesting outside local offices, burning party literature, and demanding resignations. From Cornwall to Grimsby, the sentiment is boiling over. Starmer didn't just break a promise, he broke faith, and it doesn't end there. The second gut punch comes in the form of the Youth Mobility Scheme, which critics argue is a stealth reintroduction of free movement under a new name. Thousands of young Europeans will now be able to live and work in the UK, bypassing the immigration controls Leave voters demanded. In Labour's former heartlands, the reaction has been ferocious. MPs from red wall constituencies are calling it a betrayal of national sovereignty, with one branding the deal Brexit in reverse. Inside Labour HQ, the mood is apocalyptic. There's panic in every corridor. Whispers of a no-confidence vote have evolved into full-blown strategy sessions. More than 30 MPs have reportedly voiced support for a leadership challenge, and a growing number of shadow ministers are on the verge of resigning. Starmer's private attempts to silence internal dissent have backfired, with leaks from closed-door meetings painting a picture of a leader lashing out and branding his critics disloyal. Party unity has all but collapsed. Labour councillors are stepping down in protest. Local branches are in open revolt. Across social media, hashtags like #StarmerOut and #NoConfidenceNow are trending at a rate that Labour's comms team can't keep up with. In Doncaster, a former Labour voter screamed into a news mic, "He sold us out." This isn't just about the EU, it's about who we are. Even within Parliament, Starmer's grip is slipping. New revelations suggest that key elements of the deal were negotiated behind closed doors, excluding Parliament entirely. Critics say it hands quiet regulatory authority back to Brussels through the back door. Farmers, fishermen, and small business owners are now joining forces in protest, describing the deal as surrender disguised as pragmatism. Meanwhile, Nigel Farage is having the time of his life. Reform UK has surged in the polls, with Farage sarcastically calling Starmer our best campaign asset. MPs in marginal constituencies are terrified. Some are already preparing exit strategies. Labour insiders now speak of Angela Rayner, Wes Streeting, and Lisa Nandi-Nada as future leaders, but as potential emergency replacements should Starmer be forced out in the coming weeks. The sense of betrayal cuts deepest among the 17.4 million Leave voters, many of whom had given Labour another chance. To them, this deal invalidates their vote. It's not just politics, it's personal. A skipper in Grimsby summed it up in one blistering line, "We didn't vote for sovereignty just to feed Brussels." Leaked internal emails show Labour strategists knew this might blow up. They rolled the dice anyway. Critics are now calling it Brexit without benefits, a policy that pleases no one, angers everyone, and opens the door to a Reform UK comeback. Rolling protests are being planned. Industry groups are warning of massive job losses. Labour's narrative is collapsing, and with it, Starmer's political capital, and the optics aren't helping. His public statements sound evasive, overscripted, and out of touch. Phrases like realistic growth and responsible governance are falling flat with an electorate craving authenticity. Journalists report a communication team in meltdown mode. One insider bluntly described Labour HQ as a burning building with no exits. MPs are dodging interviews. A few are openly hostile when questioned. It's damage control in every direction, and no one's steering the ship. The pressure is now unbearable. A formal no-confidence motion is all but inevitable. Letters are circulating. Resignations are piling up. If enough dominoes fall, Starmer could be out within weeks. What began as a low-profile trade deal has become an existential crisis. Across Labour's ranks, one refrain is echoing louder each day. He misread the country. In trying to recalibrate Labour's relationship with Europe, Starmer has triggered an internal civil war and a grassroots mutiny. Councillors in industrial towns are speaking of betrayal with the same fury usually reserved for opposing parties. Constituency offices report a tidal wave of complaints. And in the North and Midlands, voters who had flirted with returning to Labour are rapidly swinging back to the right. Reform UK is capitalising. The Conservatives, once on the defensive, are now openly mocking Labour's disarray. Calls are growing for a parliamentary vote on the deal, not to stop it, but to use it as a wedge to further fracture the opposition. Even some Tories are musing about a snap election to exploit Labour's implosion. Internationally, the reaction is just as stark. European officials are reportedly stunned, not by the content of the deal, but by the scale of Britain's backlash. Brussels had hoped for a quiet reset. Instead, they're watching the UK descend into another round of political chaos. The headlines write themselves. Labour, the party of unity, is being torn apart by its own contradictions. Potential successors are already circling, some publicly, others discreetly. There's no appetite for another leadership contest, but insiders are openly debating who might best stabilize the wreckage. Names like Rayner and Nandy are surfacing again, not because they're popular, but because they're not Starmer. The thinking is simple. Anyone might be better than watching the party spiral further into crisis. The truth is, this isn't just about one policy. It's about identity. It's about trust. Labour promised to be the party of change, and instead, to many, it now looks like the party of retreat. What's unfolding isn't a mere backlash. It's a cultural revolt. Starmer underestimated how deeply Brexit defined political loyalty in working-class Britain. And now, that mistake could cost Labour not just an election, but its future. This isn't just a leadership wobble. It's a full-blown collapse in real time. The EU deal that was supposed to symbolize strategic diplomacy has ignited a political inferno. Unless Starmer can engineer a miracle, something on the level of a complete party reset, his time at the top may be drawing to a swift and bitter end. Labour doesn't just face defeat. It faces obliteration. The letters of no confidence are landing. The base is furious. And the headlines write themselves. The party that once prided itself on discipline is now eating itself alive. Starmer took a gamble. He didn't just lose. He may have set the whole house on fire.